I've been trading Forex for a little over about 3 years now. And of course, it has been a challenging path for me personally. And up until Bishop was my mentor, um, when I went through the SimplyPips program, I started to really understand the concept of how things work. Um, but at the same time, of course, when it comes to Forex, I started noticing that there's inconsistencies. Um, Maintaining a equity curve that's going to consistently keep going up with Forex, it seemed like a little bit of a challenge. I'm not going to say it's impossible. Uh, but lately, what I have been exposed to is trading synthetic indices. And a lot of my time I have devoted in the past 3 weeks to a month, and I've been extensively researching on how it's working out. Personally, for me, in my experience, I could find a big difference trading synthetic indices compared to Forex. Uh, Now, what is synthetic indices? And I'm going to cover everything to my best knowledge and my best understanding. I'm still in the learning curve myself, and I'm trying to understand more in depth about this. So the biggest advantage that synthetic indices offers is the fact that it is not affected by real world events. So in a sense, for example, we could be in a trading Forex or gold or any commodity. Uh, there could be a tweet from a world leader, some event in the world, something can happen, and then we instantly see our profitable position go hit our stop loss. And that is because of an external factor that influenced that. And with this, it's purely technical. There's nothing to do with any fundamentals, any real world events happening. It doesn't affect that at all. Price, of course, we know, like when we look at price, we know that price is delivered by an algorithm. Let it be any asset that we're dealing with. We could look at cryptocurrency, we could look at Forex, and now we're looking at synthetic indices. I'm going to share my screen here. I don't know if I am yet. Hold on. Can you guys see my screen?
We can see.
Okay.
We can see.
Okay. So we have an understanding that price is delivered with algorithms. I mean, before it was market makers, and now the whole model has changed to price being delivered with algorithms, and that's how we're able to align our strategies based on a methodology that's somewhat working for us. So what makes it easier with trading synthetic indices is the fact, once again, I'm going to reiterate on the fact that it is not influenced by external factors. Now, from my experience so far, do I see manipulation? Yes, there is some level of manipulation based on technicals. And of course, I think that's going to continue to exist in any market that we trade, but definitely much less manipulation compared to Forex. And as for me, it's been about a month that I've been doing this. I have started to see progress and an exponential growth on my equity. I started from a very small equity, and it has grown substantially. So I am starting to see promising results with this, and that's what I was discussing this with Bishop. And I would want to give you guys a little bit of insight on how this works. So I'm using, and I'm sure a lot of you guys are aware of this. I'm using Deriv or Deriv, how we want to pronounce that. Basically registering with them is pretty easy. There's no KYC. The only downside to it, for me personally, I'm in the United States, so they don't accept clients from the United States, UK, I believe UAE, and a couple other countries. You can check with them. But what I do is I use a VPN, so I have access to it through them. So, you know, this particular account, I tried using it from the United States, and then they kind of kicked me out. But yeah, it's a long story. But it's pretty straightforward. Deposits and withdrawals are through Bitcoin. You know, they allow deposits and withdrawals through Bitcoin, so that's pretty straightforward. And there are other methods as well, but for some reason I'm not using my other computer. I'm in my office right now, so I don't have access to my actual account. So it's pretty straightforward in that sense. Now, is there any other questions that you guys might have for me that before I move on to strategy, or how I, you know, the different strategies that I use based on AQZ that I use? Anybody might have any questions meanwhile? No, so should I move forward?
So if I get you right,
Yeah.
Derive is the platform you're using to trade the synthetic indices.
Derive, yes, correct.
Right, and it's not readily available for traders situated in Europe and US.
In
And
UK, US, I
yeah.
believe someone was telling me UAE, Dubai. I mean, they don't allow either UAE. There's a couple
Okay,
other countries on the list, I believe so.
Okay, but you could still access them if you have a VPS.
A VPN, yeah, I could. And I checked with them. Another thing that I checked with them for withdrawals of more than $10,000, they ask for KYC. You know, so that's the only $10,000 a day, actually. That's what they mentioned. So that would be the only downside, but I think, you know, 10,000 a day, it's profits.
It's more than enough for so many people.
For so many people, absolutely.
All right, right on, brother.
All right. So, see what I've been doing. I mean, I have this indicator installed. I mean, this, you don't necessarily need the indicator for this. You know, anybody who can understand the structure, basically based on an LSB, what I do is I have my alert set basically based on how the 4 hours order flow is. So based on the order flow, what I'm doing is I'm taking either buys or sells. And here's what I'm doing with this. So I'm having a hard time kind of moving this thing around. Sorry. There we go. So I have my fib settings. I can send it over. Somebody sent this to me from the group, actually. So I can send you guys the fib settings on the group. This is what I use based on AQZ. So when I see the 4 hour is basically a bullish order flow, what I'm doing here is this is the breaker. This is considered the LSP, so the breaker. And then we have an order flow, which is moving up. So what I'm doing at this point, based on the retest, break and retest of each target price, where there's double lines or the aqua and the target price, I'm looking to take buys at this point. So now, for example, I see a setup here, which if I go to the 15-minute time frame, I could already see right here, it gave me a, are you guys able to see my mouse pointing, Bishop?
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay. So basically what I'm doing is I'm waiting for price to break, retest a target price, and give an LSB in the opposite, in the direction which the current order flow is on. And then I'm taking this from here to the next TP. This is one way that I'm doing it. That's giving me trades based on me not having to constantly keep looking at the charts. So if you want me to reiterate on another one right here, for example, let me go to this right here, how I mark this. Every time I see a break, when I mark this from the point of the LSB to the high, because it gave a bearish order flow, I'm waiting for break and retest. So in this instance, this happened right here, but I'm not sure if it would have given me an LSB. I can check on that. So right here, so basically, even if I looked at it in this sense, see there is a break and it gave a retest to TP1, and then it just dropped to the next TP2. I'd be looking for another setup here. If I was to look at this right here, for example, the way I marked the fib, basically from the highest point to the part of the breaker right here, and then when it breaks and gives a retest, I'm looking for another LSB to enter a sell. So for example, now I'm gonna share this indicator with you guys also on the group. I don't know, I think most of you guys know what this is already. It's the it's called the market structure break. That's the indicator. I'm gonna send you guys a link for this. It's on MQL5, readily available. So at this point, I would be looking for this to break structure right here and give an LSB, take a sell. My stop loss goes above that. I'll take it to TP2. I'm confident in taking this trade. The reason why is because the order flow is already down on the 4-hour time frame. So this is basically the strategies that I have been primarily following, and I believe, based on AQZ, there are so many different variations for strategies that can be built, which works wonders actually. Given that I find manipulations very less on this. So Bishop, I don't know if you want to add something else to this. Any questions, any more, anything further that I can add to this?
All right, I'm aware that when trading, or rather in the world of synthetic indices,
yeah,
there could be more than one. I think we're presently, I can't see your screen, but it looks like we're in something 25.
Jump 25, yeah.
All right, so are there others? And how do we know which to trade? Could you guide us, if not now, later on, how do we determine our lot size? Because as you know, risk management and everything.
Sure, absolutely. And that's a really good question, because I had a problem with that before. I blew up a couple of small accounts putting in the wrong lot sizes. So I was trying to find out exactly how to do this. So for example, if I wanted to hypothetically sell here, what I'm looking to do is my intended lot size. So what I would do, you see this number right here, which is, I don't know if you guys could see it clearly because it's a little too gray here, 99878. Do you guys see that? So let's say I'm going to draw a horizontal line here. Let's say this is supposed to be my stop loss and this is my entry, right? So my entry, the red lines, let's refer to the red lines. So just pull up a calculator. I'm going to sell, for example, so 99073 minus 98798. So that's 275. So if my intended risk on the trade is, let's say, $50, now I will multiply that 275 by 0.10. So that gives me about 27.5. So I can average it to probably 0.15. So that's 27.5. So give or take, that will give me an average number on how much my risk is. Do you guys understand that?
No, I'm not sure I got that right.
Okay, so what I'm doing here, I'm finding the difference in these numbers. You see the numbers on the red on the right side where I highlighted the horizontal lines.
Yeah, the red lines, right?
Red lines, yeah. Hypothetically, let's say this is the spread between my entry and my stop loss, right?
All right.
So what I would do, I would find the difference. I would calculate the difference between these two, right? And I will multiply. So in this case, it's 275. That's the difference that I'm getting from the number, right?
All right.
So trying to figure out right here. So it says 281 points, but I usually do it with a calculator. I feel like it's more accurate that way rather than what MT5 shows, because I think there's room for error. We can kind of screw up on something because the numbers are not exactly that number as far as points. So
Okay.
275. So if I was to take a lot size 1, for example, I'm risking $275.
All right. The 275 is synonymous to pips, right? Like we'll calculate pips for currencies.
Yeah, pips in the sense this is more or less like the value from the high to the low.
I get your point.
Right. So that's how I'm
From
calculating it. So
from entry to stop loss.
yes, I mean, it's 275. I don't know what to call it, dollars, or is it probably it's going to be pips, I would say 275 pips. If it's
Okay.
27.5 pips. But I don't really know exactly how the per pip value is. So to avoid that confusion, that's how I just do it straightforward like this.
All right.
Right. So if
So
it's 275, the difference between these two numbers, if it's a
okay.
lot size 1 is 275, lot size 0.10, that's divided by 10 is 27.5. So it gives us a framework to kind of how to calculate the lot sizes,
All right. So 27.5 happens to be the risk you're taking on the trade, right?
Yeah, I mean, that happens to be the number. If I do this, if I take off 9907 minus 98798,
Yep.
that gives me $275. I mean, not dollars, but based on price.
Yeah, I get your point. Now,
Right?
so if we know that the spread, that is the distance between those two red lines, is 275, you
Yes.
said we get to multiply it by 0.1 or something like that. So that gives us 27.5.
27.5, yes.
Now, so 27.5 happens to be what we would lose if the trades hit our stop loss.
Stop loss, correct, exactly.
Great. So that now we know how much we're risking.
Exactly. And there's one more
what?
thing. Mhm.
All right.
Okay. There's one more thing I want to add. There's one particular pair where this gets tricky. I have lost money on that because I picked the lot size. I thought I picked it correctly, which is this one, the step index. You guys got to be very careful with this, with the lot size.
Okay.
The calculation can show whatever the number shows, it just divided by 10. Right? So for example, I just picked these two randomly, right? So 9438. I'm sorry, I'm going to go the other way. 9457 minus 9438. So that's 19. So hypothetically, it's supposed to be 19. If it is 1, that's supposed to be $19. But
Okay.
specifically for this pair, if it is 1, it's 190. So we have to be careful with that. It's 0.10. That'll be $19.
All right, I get your point now. So, but what lot size do we use when we want to trade? Sometimes I see lot sizes like 0.0001, and it looks
Yes.
strange to me because I mean the
Sure.
lowest lot size we use in Forex is 0.01.
Yes. That's another thing that happened to me also with volatility 75. And I got lucky and it went in my direction. I made good profit. All right. Let me pick this volatility 75.
All right, and this can only be traded on MT5, not MT4.
Only MT5, not MT4, unfortunately.
Great.
So we're looking at volatility 75 because the numbers are so big with this. So that's why it's 001. So 972,405 minus 951,477. So that's 20,928. So that's why when we do multiplied by 0.001, that is $20.92.
Great. Do we have any window like Market Watch on
Yes.
Okay, so let's see the Market Watch.
So these are all the pairs.
Okay, can you right click on maybe any of them? Just right click.
Mm-hmm.
Then let's go to specification. All right, so the specification there gave us contract size of 1. The contract size there is 1.
1.
And the tick size is 0.01. Okay, can you click on something else, something you know might be different in terms of lot size?
Lot size. So let's click on this right here, right?
That's
The
definitely
one I was
okay.
referring to.
Yeah. Now you see the contract size here is 10.
Okay, so that's why it makes a difference.
Yep. And the tick size is smaller.
Smaller. Okay.
So that will affect the lot size. So what I'll do, I'll direct us to a particular website where we could use
Awesome.
contract size and tick size to determine our lot size. And I'll see if I
That's
can also
amazing.
open an Excel sheet that we can use. So let's leave the floor open for others to ask questions.
Sure. And one more thing I want to also cover, like about crash and boom. I know there are some strategies based on, so crash and boom basically is like, if I go to the 1 minute time frame, like you can see like these are booms. So basically sudden spikes up, which does not respect stop losses at all. So this is the one thing, like I personally don't trade this to sell. I only look for buy entries on boom, and I only look for sell entries on crash. Because
I didn't get that. You mean stop losses don't work here?
Stop losses don't. So basically it goes from point A to point B, and that's where it triggers a stop loss.
Oh, until the candle closes.
Yes, until the candle closes, like right here, for example.
Right. So if you have your stop loss in between, sorry for you.
Yes, exactly. So see, that's why I don't trade this on the opposite direction. If it's boom, I only take buys. If it's crash, I only take sells, because this just goes, steadily. There's no issue with that. And constantly, this kind of drops with time, and then suddenly there's a spike. This actually puts a trade on fast forward. If we're gonna hold a trade, maybe usually for like a couple hours, with boom, we could actually take that same profit maybe in half an hour. I don't know, probably less, because the spikes up are just like not movements, high lows, just straight up. So I see this as an attractive way to get into some fast profits.
I'll be scared of trading this without trading it on demo first. Do
Yeah,
they have
absolutely.
demo accounts? Or
Yeah,
sure they do.
have demo. They have demo accounts as well. They have demo accounts as well.
All right, guys, let's ask questions.
Sure.
The very first chart you were on, what was that? Something 75?
This one, right? Jump 75.
Yep. Right. This looks like something that would seriously respect our AQZ.
Yes.
Now, we can trade these over the weekends too.
Over the weekends, 24 hours, 7 days a week. Personally, I also tend to kind of have a hard time being profitable usually during the 4 hour range between, I'm talking about New York time, Eastern Standard Time, 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. During those times, I don't know what's going on. Past few days, it's been like that. It's been a bit challenging, but the other times are fine. And maybe the weekends are a little, it's not, I wouldn't say challenging, but it's not as liquid probably as the weekdays. But overall, I think it's good. No, I'm still evolving on this. I'm trying to figure out the best times to trade. Like with Forex, we know we have the kill zone times.
Yeah.
So with this, I mean, of course, I tend to find that the close of the 4 hour candles are the best times to look for entries.
Okay.
Maybe an hour after the 4 hour close. So The last 4-hour candle close was 30 minutes ago.
Right.
So that should give you guys an idea on how to time the entries. You know, like that's what's been working for me.
Wow. Looking at the chart, I've been staring at this chart, and I'm excited at what AQZ or the basic order blocks could do for us.
Absolutely.
Permit me to annotate on your screen.
Sure.
Right. So we had this drop to the downside.
Yeah.
Then price attempted to break. So let's say we have our AQZ feed here. We would have had this sell, maybe to TP1 or something. Then we had a violation or what we call a breaker. Then price retested the breaking structure, and then boom, it went up.
Yep.
Then we had this high, right? Price retested it, and then we have this. Now, this same scenario played out all the way down here.
Yes, exactly.
If you are patient to follow price, it seems to have less manipulations than Forex.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Great one.
And that's what I'm like inclined towards. Like I'm looking at it in the sense of, and the bottom line, of course, and that's something that you drilled into us when you taught us that it's all about, in the strategies, you know, only a certain percentage of it in psychology, right? So personally, I mean, that's the thing that I've been drilling into my head constantly over and over again. But, you know, this definitely gives that edge, like based on strategy, like an AQZ just works wonders. Like it's amazing. I've been able to kind of play around with it in different ways. There are a couple of the things that I've been working on that has been working as well, but I need to kind of test it out a little bit more for me to be able to kind of discuss it, you know?
Yeah, somebody was saying the way you drew the fib is not the usual AQZ method. Yeah, AQZ could be you could amend it the way you want.
Yes.
He just
Exactly.
used it to fib out the order block responsible for the breaker. You know, traditional order flow, we would say when we have a breaker, then we anticipate a retest of the breaker or the source for price to rally, and that was exactly what he did here. Someone was asking on crash and boom, do you just target the spikes? And if yes, how do you look for setups? I'll leave that to you. I know nothing about this.
It's the same way, based on AQZ, draw the fibs and wait for a retest of a aqua zone, and look for buys only on boom and look for sells only on crash.
All right. So have you had stories of difficulty in withdrawing?
Personally, no, because I had one withdrawal because my other account got closed and I was able to get my money out with no issues.
Oh, great.
I don't know. I haven't really heard any. I looked up online. Looks like nobody really has any issues with withdrawing. I mean, of course, I mean, I wouldn't be comfortable leaving a substantial amount of a deposit in there. But I think the best part about it is that this is something that you can run a small deposit into a substantial capital in a matter of, you know, a few weeks. I feel it's possible. Because I was taking 5% risk on a trade and I turned about 500% within 3 weeks now.
Wow. Amazing.
So
wow.
Yeah.
then imagine if we throw in our asymmetric compounding, we could do more then.
Oh my God, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So
all right, for starters, which of these would you suggest we start with?
As far as the strategy or the pair?
No, the pair here.
The pair, okay. For starters, I think the most popularly traded pair is the volatility 75.
All right.
So this is what attracts a lot of traders towards 75 right here.
Okay.
And the same concept, like if you look at this right here, we have our break, retest, and then it's going down. Like you see the aqua zone, TP1, same concept.
Yeah.
So my understanding on this is that now what I'm starting to do, based on, of course, like like you guys say, AQZ is a roadmap for price, right? We know we have an idea on where price is based on AQZ. So 4 hours basically, more or less an anchor, which kind of gives us an idea, right, where price is moving as far as order flow. And based on when price is around here, I'm sure there's going to be a ton of other ways people can figure out ways to take entries based on their own strategies, right?
Sure.
So we just want the directional bias.
All right. So we get directional bias on 4 hours, and then we trade further breakouts to the downside.
Yes.
For anyone who has been following SimplyPips for a while.
Yes.
So, right, guys, I don't see any question in the chat box. Those of us interested, I would suggest you will I call it subscribe to Derive. Let's get working on this MT5, and I'm sure as we try our hands, then we'll get more questions, and we can always invite the Fras to come up. I'll try and see if I can find a way of getting a structured method of determining lot sizes with this and share with the house.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm here to help you guys with any questions anytime, no problem. And I highlighted also the indicators that I'm using here, which is this one, the advanced auto block breaker. Bishop, you know about this, right?
Sure.
Yeah. So that the reason why I'm using this is it takes off it does all the heavy lifting for me, right? I mean, I don't have to be staring at the charts. So I have it set up where it's giving me the alerts on my phone every time there's a breaker. So I just go back to the charts and I kind of see, where it is based on the AQZ, and I either take the trade or I don't.
Right, guys, and this indicator is not free.
It's not free. Yeah, it's $50. I think $58, something like that.
Recently, there was some modifications. I'm not sure if it still goes for that price, but we can always check on the market floor in MQL5. All right, guys, we want to appreciate the Fras for
Anytime.
taking his time to share this with us. We would appreciate if one or two people could go try this out. Then we'll have more intelligent questions to ask. I will be signing on as early as today, and we'll see how this goes. So thank you everyone for coming online. For those of us who will be interested in fostering program starting second week in June or thereabout, and we'll run for another 3 months. You could chat me up or any of the admins to, Madam Chinyere, thank you. All right, let's see. Let me quickly go through the people online. Basically the old hands. Yeah, Ifraz, people are thanking you on
Thank you guys. Yeah, appreciate you guys being here. And of course, I'm looking forward to learning from you guys as well. And like Bishop always says, teaching is learning. So I'm excited about this, guys.
Thanks, Ifraz, and enjoy your, for us here, it is evening. I don't know what time it is at your end.
It is evening to 4:40 in the afternoon here.
All right, we are like 9:40.
Okay.
All right,
guys. Have a good night.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.